welcome to this weekly edition of Question Hour from inside the Parliament House complex, wherein we bring you some important questions asked by the members of Parliament and the answers given by the government. I'm Vishal Dahiya, and with me is my colleague Kriti Mishra.
Thank you so much, Vishal. So let's begin the Question Hour show. And the first question that we've picked up is from member Tiruchi Siva, and his question pertains to the Ministry of Defence. And he has asked about the number of women employed in 3 defence forces: Air Force, Army and Navy.
Well, the Defence Ministry in its answer has given the detailed number of women officers as on 1st of January 2019 in all 3 armed forces. And these are: in Army, the number of women is 6,816. In Air Force, the number is 2,305. In the Navy, it is 1,030. And this number is as on 1st of January 2019. Now, the ministry also says in its answer that various measures have been taken by the government to attract women to join armed forces. Women Short Service Commission officers have been approved grant of permanent commission along with men SSCOs in specific branches. In addition, steps like increasing tenure of women officers and improving promotional perspective in Army has been taken to increase participation of women. And Kriti, in fact, an add-on to that is the government decision which has come in just now. That's right. The permanent commission will be given to women officers in all 10 branches of Army. So that's an add-on to the question.
Absolutely, Vishal.
Well, moving on to the next question, and this is also to the Ministry of Defence, and the question is from member Nadeemul Haq, who goes on to ask the government whether it has taken any measures to promote self-reliance in intellectual property rights in the defence sector.
Well, the government has given a very comprehensive reply here, and the government goes on to say that several ordnance factories and defence public sector units have been carrying out innovative research on the development of certain materials, components, sub-assemblies, assemblies, leading to performance upgradation of the existing system platforms. A need was felt to create a structured mechanism to facilitate and encourage innovative activities with primary objective to boost intellectual property culture, which would enhance the intellectual capital that is vital for encouraging in-house research and development in such organizations. With this objective in view, an intellectual property rights facilitation cell has been established under the Department of Defence Production on 4th of April 2018 to promote self-reliance in intellectual property rights in the defence sector. Moreover, as part of this initiative, Department of Defence Production has launched the mission Raksha Gyan Shakti on 27th of November 2018 to encourage defence public sector undertakings and Ordnance Factory Board to boost IPR culture in their respective organization to promote self-reliance in defence sector. During the period July to December 2018, 304 IPRs have been filed and 8,838 personnel have been trained for this purpose. Moving on to the next question, and this one is from member Shanta Chetri, and her question pertains to the Ministry of External Affairs, and she has asked whether India has formulated its own foreign policy, and more importantly, she has inquired about the details of its achievement during the last 4 years in terms of national security, attracting investments, transfer of technology, skill development and active engagement with the diaspora and relations with our neighbouring countries.
Well, in its detailed answer, the Ministry of External Affairs says that India's foreign policy is guided by several objectives, including enhancing national security, promoting and facilitating India's economic transformation, strengthening our mutually beneficial partnerships and building influence in the international forums. Now, the government continuously assesses and refines its diplomatic approach in response to evolving global challenges and opportunities which have a bearing on India's short-term and long-term interests. The government also says that in the last 4 years, India's proactive diplomacy and rising global stature has been reflected in its pivotal role in shaping the global agenda on an array of issues. Relations with our neighbours have been given highest priority with emphasis on greater connectivity, stronger cooperation and broader contacts. As a result of this, significant progress has been registered in our relations with our neighbouring countries. Further, the ministry says that our external outreach has been aligned with our developmental priorities. Now, the objective of attracting foreign investments, including for infrastructure development and infusion of technology and best practices for advancing India's developmental programs such as Make in India, Skill India, Digital India, Smart Cities, Swachh Bharat, Namami Gange, Amrut. All these have been at the forefront of all high-level exchanges with several countries, including our neighbors. Well, the next question is again to the Ministry of External Affairs, and this one is from member E. Karim, who goes on to ask the government about India's bilateral relations with some of its neighbors in the last 5 years, and also whether the government is aware that some of our neighboring countries, which were previously dependent on India for their basic needs, are now depending on other countries for these purposes.
Well, the answer is a negative, and the government says that relationship with the neighbouring countries has not degenerated in the last 4 years. The government further goes on to say that it accords highest priority to India's relations with neighbouring countries. Our engagement is focused on greater connectivity, stronger cooperation and broader contacts. High-level visits to all countries in the neighbourhood, in many cases after a gap of several years, have imparted a new energy to our ties. We have resolved many long-pending issues, extended timely assistance in times of need and distress, and expanded our development cooperation in terms of range, quality and quantum of commitments, as well as pace of implementation. Overall, our approach and the sincerity of our efforts are receiving growing support from our partners in the region. India's age-old and multifaceted ties with neighbours like Nepal and Bhutan stand firmly on their own. Our relations are founded on mutual trust, goodwill and understanding, and have witnessed sustained progress in a wide range of sectors. Moving on to the next question, and this one has been asked by member Shantanu Sen. And this question pertains to the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And Mr. Sen has inquired about the budgetary allocation under the scheme IT for Masses from 2015 to 2017.
Well, the Ministry for IT and Electronics says that the program IT for Masses is running under a separate budget head, which is known as Manpower Development Scheme of Government of India, and has the objective of gender empowerment and development of SC/STs using ICT and electronics. The projects funded are in the area of IT training, creation of infrastructure and entrepreneurship creation. The Manpower Development Scheme is a central sector scheme, hence funds are not allocated to states and union territories. The ministry further says that the government has approved a scheme titled Pradhan Mantri Gramin Digital Saksharta Abhiyan to usher in digital literacy in rural India by covering 6 crore rural households. That is one person per household by 31st of March 2019. This is in line with the announcement made by the Finance Minister in his budget speech 2016-17. To ensure equitable geographical reach, each of the 2.5 lakh Gram Panchayats are expected to register an average of 200 to 300 candidates for this program. Well, the next question is to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and this one is from member V. Muralidharan, who goes on to ask the government about the details of funds sanctioned and spent on the development of cities identified under the Smart City Mission.
Well, Smart City Mission has been one of the flagship missions of the Government of India, and the government goes on to say that a total of 5,151 projects worth 2,05,018 crore have been included by the selected 100 cities in their Smart City proposals. As on 30th of November 2018, 2,342 projects worth 90,929 crore have been tendered, of which 1,675 projects worth 51,866 crore are under implementation or have been implemented. The pace of implementation of projects has picked up significantly. There has been a 290% increase in projects tendered, 332% increase in projects grounded or completed, and 479% increase in projects completed since October 2017. The central government shall give financial support to the extent of 500 crore rupees to each of the selected cities over the mission period. Well, the next question is by member Narayan Rane, and this question also pertains to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and he has inquired about any policy for developing or expanding metro rail in the country.
Well, the ministry says that urban transport is an integral part of urban development, which is a state subject, and indeed the planning, development and expansion of urban transport infrastructure, including metro rail projects, is done by respective state governments or the union territory governments. Now, the central financial assistance to metro rail projects is provided subject to the feasibility of the proposal and availability of resources. The Government of India has formulated the Metro Rail Policy 2017, which endeavours to focus on systemic planning and implementation of metro rail systems in a more comprehensive and sustainable manner. The ministry further says that the policy aims at ascertaining and enhancing the feasibility of metro rail projects from economic, social and environmental perspective. The policy is a guide to state governments for preparing comprehensive proposals for all kinds of metro rail projects. The next question is from member C.M. Ramesh, and this is to the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Undertakings, wherein he goes on to ask the government whether it is a fact that since last few years, most of the public sector undertakings are running in losses.
The government has given a very specific answer, and the government goes on to say that as per Public Enterprises Survey 2017-18, that was laid in both Houses of Parliament on 27th of December 2018, the number of CPSEs which have incurred losses is 79, 89 and 71 out of 244, 257 and 257 operating CPSEs during the financial years 2015-16, 2016-17 and 2017-18 respectively. As per the information made available by the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, NITI Aayog has been mandated to identify the CPSEs for strategic disinvestment and advise on the mode of sale, percentage of shares to be sold and method for valuation of the CPSE. The next question is from member Majid Menon, and his question pertains to the Ministry of Water Resources and Ganga Rejuvenation, and he has asked whether it is a fact that the draft National River Ganga Bill 2018 has proposed the setting up of an armed force Ganga Protection Corps and also the powers allocated to armed personnel for offences and penalties punishable under the Ganga Act.
Well, the ministry gives the answer in affirmative, saying that the proposal of constitution of Ganga Protection Force as an armed forces of the Union is indeed a part of the draft National River Ganga Rejuvenation, Protection and Management Bill 2018. The ministry also says that the Ganga Protection Corps is proposed to be empowered to arrest or cause to be arrested for offence under the Act and to take the person to the nearest police station. The court would take cognizance of the offence on the basis of the complaint filed by the officers who are authorized under the proposed Act. Well, the next question is from member Sanjay Raut, and this is to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, wherein he goes on to ask the government about the BHARATMALA project, saying whether the government is implementing this project to construct 25,000 kilometers of roads along India's borders, coastal areas, ports, religious and other tourist places as well.
While the ministry goes on to say that the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the implementation of an umbrella program for national highways, BHARATMALA Pariyojana Phase 1 on 24th of October 2017 at an estimated outlay of 5,35,000 crore rupees. A total of 24,800 kilometers length of national highways have been considered in Phase 1, as well as 10,000 kilometers residual road works under NHDP. Under this program, the ministry has identified stretches for development of about 9,000 kilometers of length of economic corridors, about 6,000 kilometers of length of inter-corridor and feeder roads, and about 5,000 kilometer length of national corridors efficiency. Improvements about 2,000 kilometers length of border and international connectivity roads about 2,000 kilometers length of coastal and port connectivity roads, and about 800 kilometers length of expressways and balance length of about 10,000 kilometers of roads under NHDP. Out of 34,800 kilometers highway projects with aggregate length of approximately 6,460 kilometers have been awarded under BHARATMALA Pariyojana up to November 2018. BHARATMALA Pariyojana Phase 1 is targeted for completion by the year 2021-2022. Moving on to the next question, and this one is from member Naranbhai Ratwa, and his question pertains to the Ministry of Mines, and he has asked whether it is a fact that nearly 1 lakh incidents of illegal mining are taking place in a year, due to which nation is suffering a huge loss of revenue, and government is not able to control it completely till now.
Well, in its answer, the concerned ministry says that as per Section 23C of the Mines and Minerals Act 1957, the state governments are empowered to frame rules for preventing illegal mining. Now, the state government may, by notification, frame such rules for preventing illegal mining, transportation and storage of minerals and for the purposes connected therewith in their state. However, Indian Bureau of Mines, IBM, a subordinate office under the administrative control of Ministry of Mines, receives returns on illegal mining from various states on quarterly basis. The next question is to the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs, and this one is from member Derek O'Brien, who goes on to ask the government the status of progress of National Sports University being established in Manipur and the status of establishment of other campuses of the Sports University across India and all the related details.
The government has given a very elaborate answer here, and the government goes on to say that construction of work of the main campus of National Sports University in West District, Imphal, is under progress. While demarcation of fencing work and site development for hillock neutralization have been completed, work is going on for ground site development, boundary wall and road alignment work pending construction of campus of the National Sports University in West Imphal district. The university is at present functioning from temporary campus located at Kuman Lampak Sports Complex, Imphal. Allocation of 25 crore rupees has been made for NSU in financial year 2018-19, out of which 5 crore have been released to NSU till date in the financial year 2018-19. At present, there is no proposal under consideration of central government for establishment of other campuses of National Sports University outside the state of Manipur. Well, the next question has been asked by member T. Ratnavel, and his question pertains to the Ministry of Space. And he has asked whether it is a fact that Indian space market offers big opportunity to industry, as it is estimated to grow to $1.6 billion by the year 2023.
Well, the government in its answer says that Indian space research program has seen unprecedented growth in the last few years with highly successful and commercial missions accomplished. Now, there are a large number of approved missions in waiting for ISRO to accomplish, which indicates a big opportunity for the industry as well. The ministry further says that with respect to space program, the import component for electronics in launch vehicle area is mainly in stage avionics, which is around 10%. However, in the area of satellite building, the percentage of electronics import is as high as around 50%. Import substitution and indigenized manufacturing efforts are required in the areas of amplifiers, image sensors and optical equipments, FPGA, crystal oscillators, memory devices, RF devices and other equipments. Now, microwave devices and equipments, semiconductor components, PCBs, ICs, filters, waveguides, solar cells, signal generators and conditioners, along with power supplies, converters, isolators and frequency sympathizers are also included. Well, the next question is also to the Ministry of Space, and this is from member Narayan Lal Pancharia, who goes on to ask the government whether it has done any study on the excessive reliance on foreign-controlled global positioning system, that is GPS.
Well, the government says that such a study has not been taken up, as it is already well known that foreign-controlled US-operated GPS has attained widespread use in India due to its free-of-cost availability and numerous GPS-based systems in the open market. The government has already initiated concrete steps to proliferate the usage of the indigenous satellite system named Indian Regional Navigation System, or Navigation with Indian Constellation. Government has also approved the project for a domestic navigation system. ISRO has successfully implemented the same, NAVIC, or Navigation with Indian Constellation, or IRNSS, or Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. This system is already operational. The NAVIC is an independent Indian satellite-based navigation system to provide PNT, or Position, Navigation and Time Service to users over an Indian region and region extending to about 1,500 kilometers around India. It consists of space segment and ground segment as well. So these were the important questions and answers in this segment of Question Hour.
We'll be back again next week with some more questions and their answers given by the government. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha television.